Let's have a conversation about what healthy friendships looks like among women. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones. I'm a licensed therapist. I have a commenter here who wrote to me. She says, "Would you be willing to do a video on what healthy women friendships look like? I have an emotionally immature mother." With untreated ADHD, and I find myself gravitating towards women that are really intense in the beginning of the friendship, only to discard me once they get bored. Afterwards, I see what happened. Hindsight is 2020, but during, I have no idea. I realize that I don't know what a healthy, normal progression for a friendship with a woman looks like, since I'm unconsciously basing my relationships off of the relationship with my mother. This is a great question. So first and foremost, it's good that you're insightful about, what's sort of driving your behavior um, in the relationships with women, and how you're choosing women. I would encourage you and implore you to take it one step further and to do therapy. If you're even if you've already done it, I always encourage people to do therapy at the same time when they're going out and they're consciously dating or consciously choosing friendships. That way you can explore patterns, characteristics, red flags, green flags, and all of that kind of stuff with a therapist, as well as your own, unconscious biases and, just behaviors and things like that. So I would encourage you to do that first. Try therapy at the same time that you're doing it. I also would encourage you, if you have not already, and I can't tell you what to do, but if your mother is a major influence on, you know, who you gravitate towards or what you've normalized in your life, I would encourage you to take several steps back. If not, take time off from that relationship while you are choosing friendships. It is going to be very difficult, if not impossible, for you to you need to get out of the habit of normalizing her behavior, so that you can know what it's like for your central nervous system to be regulated around people. And a lot of times, if you're around your mom a lot, or if you're around people that are chaotic a lot, it's going to be very difficult for you to discern and to choose. So I would encourage you to, try to give that relationship space. If you haven't gone no contact, but give it a lot of space so that you could be a lot more free and clear to think about your behaviors or actions and the types of people that you gravitate towards. You're going to be a lot more clear if you do that. And again, you don't have to take my advice for it, but that's, just what I would recommend there. So number one, in terms of finding women, I think, or well, number three, I should say, it sounds like the relationships that you have with women, they start off, high energy, and then they fizzle out and just die like a firecracker. So what that tells me is that you're starting relationships in reverse. Relationships should start off boring, you know. Stable people are boring, and that's not a bad thing. It's just like, people like myself, I consider myself a very boring person. Like, I'm consistent, I'm reliable, I'm going to do the same sort of monotonous things every day, and that's going to look a little bit reliable. That's going to look a little bit boring. So, people that have lives that do stuff, they're not going to be able to start uh, high energy. They're not going to be able to start full fledged and be fun all the time. That it might work up to that, or you might have, I'm not going to say you're not going to have good experiences, but if you start out with all that energy, you're destined to, your relationship is destined to fizzle out fast. Healthy, normal relationships start in reverse of what you were talking about, where it's like, we get up, we get together, we meet on like a common hobby or a common friend or a common interest or like work or something like that, and we gradually get to know each other through repeated interactions. We don't start off super close, having fun, going on trips together and doing all that kind of, we don't do that typically. So, just slow and steady is going to win the race. You need to build the know, like, and trust factor, and that can only be done over slow, repeated interactions and trials and tribulations throughout the relationships. So that's number one. Number two is, women, I think it's a green flag when women want to engage, they want to get to know you, and they want to make time and space to actually connect with you. And connecting with you is on hobbies, interests, shared tasks, mutual desire to explore experiences. It's not on problems. It's not on, trauma. So I would leave trauma and problems and stuff like that out of the picture. To me, if I meet a woman or man or anybody really that immediately starts out with problems, I don't, that's typically not going to be a relationship for me. Doesn't mean they're a bad person, but people who are very comfortable laying on problems or being too, dumping their trauma, or I don't know, being too graphic, talking about their sex life, being too overly personal. Those are people that typically tend to rush things. And if you are that person, you need to slow down and you need to stop that. And I would encourage you to work on that in therapy. So, stay outside of your home, go do, make it a point to do fun things, meetups, go exploring, do things around town, hobbies, interests, all that kind of stuff. Focus on doing things that are fun. Focus on spending time together in small spurts, hour and a half tops. Don't be spending, days and weekends together right up front. So start off slow, and repeated interactions, so you might text here and there, but it's not something where you're communicating, here and there, that there's follow up. Hey, I really enjoyed our time together. Let's make it a point to get together in the future. So there's a expressed interest. You may reach out, she may reach out in desire to reconnect again. And you just make that conscious, concerted effort to continue connecting. I would also, be careful about gossip and fodder, and things like that, negative stuff, and try to leave that out. But, focus on desired interests, be respectful of time and things of that nature, and be able to talk about yourself. So leave performance at the door and things like that. But just, genuinely bond, connect, do things, keep things fun and light at the very beginning, and have those repeated, consistent interactions, and then build up to stuff where you can be, after, a period of time where you've gotten to know each other, then you can start to spend more time together. Then you can start to be more vulnerable and share deeper things and connect on deeper topics and things of that nature. But, definitely slow and steady wins the race. Hope that helps. Thanks so much for asking.